Welcome to Creative Tian channel. Today we want to make a mask from a knitted fabric. Last week we did some animal print on a knitting machine. You can also find a free download of the punch card pattern in the description box below. And we will turn this one into a simple mask by adding a layer of knit fabric. You can just use any t-shirt fabric. I know many people have concerns about the knitted mask. Is it effective? With the added layer of the jersey fabric, it will give you a little bit more protection than just knitted fabric. And for the ear loop, I just crochet some yarns that's matching the pattern. So you can tie knots and adjust the length. So I think that's more practical. If you don't machine knit, you can either hand knit or you can buy knitted fabric from fabric store and just cut it to size. For the mask pattern, it's very simple. On the top side, I have it a little bit higher so it covers the nose better. This pattern will work with any knit fabric as long as it's stretchy. And I will have a link for PDF download if you want to follow my pattern. And because this is knitted fabric, so it's very stretchy, so we don't have that curved edge in the front like those woven masks. So when we cut the fabric, we want to make sure it can stretch sideways. And it's the same for this one. It has a little bit stretch. And first I want to cut out the shape on the jersey fabric. The pattern also includes 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now I cut the jersey fabric according to the pattern. I'm going to place it on top of the pattern fabric. So it's supposed to be right side facing each other, and I will place some pin before we start sewing. After pinning, we can start sewing. And if you ever sew knit fabric, you know it can be tricky sometimes. If you have a serger, it's a good idea to use a serger so you will cut the fabric and finish the edge at the same time. Based on this pattern, the seam allowance is around 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. You can adjust it as you like. First, we are just going to sew the top and bottom edges and leave the sides open so we can turn it inside out after we sew. If you don't have a serger, you can just use regular sewing machine and see how it works. Some machine works well, some takes a little bit more practice. You can always sew it by hand because it's not a big area. Back stitch at the beginning and at the end. After we sew the line, you can see it's pretty secure. We can start cutting out the extra fabric and then turn it inside out from the sides. Now we can turn it inside out from one of the side openings. Because it's stretchy, so it's easy to turn. This part is for nose, this part is for the chin, because the nose part is a little bit higher. At this point, you can insert the wire for the nose. you can place it from the sides. I insert the wire and place pin to keep it in place, and I'm going to sew a line here and also the beginning and the end, so it will enclose the wire. And if you wear glasses, it's important to install the nose wire so it doesn't get your glasses foggy when you breathe. And this is what it looks like in the front. Now we just have to install the ear loop. I'm just using the chain stitch. You can also use elastics. And I have a crochet hook and just do the basic chain stitch. And each length is about 9 inches or 10 inches. It's really up to you because we are going to tie knots, so it can be a little bit longer. And I will tie knots around the end. It just finishes nicer. And cut off the extra. Now we have the 4 strings ready. We are going to sew the sides and finish up our mask. So we are going to turn this inside a little bit, maybe half an inch, so it hides the raw edge. If you want, you can finish up the raw edge with some zigzag stitch or even a serger to make sure it doesn't fray. But we are going to sew over it, so it should be secure. So we turn the edges in and then place the string maybe ½ inch in on both sides, near the end, near the edge. And we'll sew 1 or 2 lines to secure it. And we will do the same on the other side. Now the mask is about done. We have the ear loop, we have the nose wire. We can just tie knots and decide how long we want the ear loop to be. And another thing we can do is to sew along the edges to top stitch. You will make the edge looks nicer and not as wavy, or at least give it a steam or an iron. I'm going to sew the bottom outline to top stitch and make the curve look nicer. So I sew a line in the bottom and it makes the finish nicer. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching and see you next week.